It is July 2nd, 2013 at 9 a.m., and we are going to conduct the interview with Don Laib. All right, again, I really do appreciate you coming in, taking the time to do this.
You're welcome.
So basically the first thing I wanted to ask is if you can just talk about the beginnings in Craig, your origin of Craig, how you came here.
I've been in Craig for 42 years,
Okay.
and I came in 1971, and I had graduated from college back in Wisconsin with a degree in animal science,
Okay.
and then I served 4 years in the Air Force during the Vietnam War, and I could not get a job immediately in my career field. So I did find an opening in Colorado, and the opening was up here in the Craig area. So I worked for 8 years with the USDA as a federal meat inspector.
Wow. Okay.
Until 1979. And then I couldn't advance any further in that career without getting into compliance work and without a lot of travel, which was hard on families. So
right.
At that time there was an opening. They were hiring at Trapper Mine.
Okay.
And they had just built the 2 units of the power plant.
Okay.
At Trapper, and Trapper was supplying the coal.
Right.
For Tri-State.
Right.
So I got out there, and it was a tough situation to, I felt I was belittling myself to work as a mechanic helper as opposed to in my career field, but I did that, and I worked as a mechanic out there for 3 years, and I got a job working in the drill and blasting field.
So you just transitioned over.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I liked that real well. I loved running equipment, and so I was involved in pretty much the whole 29 years in drill and blast, which was good.
Right.
Loved running equipment, and there was some responsibility there. I got my papers as a federal blaster, certified blaster out there also.
And what does that entail, the blasting?
A lot of responsibility as far as safety, mainly for different areas where you're actually doing a blast for that day.
Right.
Loading holes, loading patterns with explosives, which are safe until all the ingredients are tied together, and then it's initiated, and then it's pretty dangerous. But so I did that, and filled in for the foreman quite often. I had my mine foreman papers out there, so I was able to fill in if the foreman was gone, the drill blast foreman was gone. I was able to fill in for him quite often, which I did that too. I worked on committees out there, purchasing equipment, other blast hole drills, and I worked on committees in the area of safety for a number of years, and that was good.
That's very interesting.
A lot of the safety issues out there at Trapper, I'm just speaking of Trapper specifically, and they're we're a union mine out there. Operating Engineers is the union, and they supply union workers, welders, mechanics, operators, basically. And Operating Engineers is a good union, and I always really enjoyed working through Operating Engineers. Right. You had benefits, you had seniority, you had good pension, which I'm able to enjoy now as a retiree. Okay. And I've been retired for 5 years from Trapper now, so. The job was good, good people to work with, and I enjoyed that very much out there.
So you mentioned a few things about safety regulations. So were those things you were constantly working on through your 29 years? Pretty much, yeah. Of course, mining field is controlled by a federal agency, the Mine Safety Health Administration. Okay. Controls the mines. Okay. And they come in and do periodic inspections. But we had our own safety teams out there at Trapper, and those teams would pretty much be on alert all the time for safety issues. Right. As far as preventing guys from getting hurt. And we found out that a lot of times it isn't necessarily the equipment that's at fault or the conditions. It's what people actually do. It's your own decisions, your own lack of taking precautions, not checking out your work area, using faulty equipment, that type of thing. That's a lot of times is how people get injured, because they aren't doing the aren't reminding themselves of the safety procedures
in specific areas. If it's running equipment, if it's using power tools, if it's not using safety equipment.
Right. So human error,
type of things.
usually.
A lot of it's human error as opposed to faulty equipment a lot of times.
And how have you seen it become safer at the mine? Have you seen it become?
I think so because a lot of the employees, I'd say 99% of them take a personal responsibility for their own safety.
Mm-hmm.
You personally can't keep me safe when I'm out working, running equipment.
Right.
So it has to be a personal commitment on your own part to be safe and to be aware of what you're doing.
Okay.
Think about what you're doing in advance, and just being careful of people around you and what in your work area,
right,
immediate area, so no one gets injured.
Right.
And Trapper has had a history of pretty safe safety record over the years.
Oh, that's good.
Won numerous awards for safety.
Have you seen accidents and
we have
injuries?
We had a fatality out there August 12th of 1999.
Wow.
A good friend of mine was killed fatally out there at Trapper. His name was Joe Kuntz, and Joe was on a blast crew out there, and he was loading holes, and I can't describe all that happened that day, but anyway, he was killed that morning, and it was just a tragedy,
of course,
to lose him, and because of that, of his fatality, there was mining procedures in the area of blasting at mines throughout the country that had to be changed because of procedures.
Wow.
So those were changed immediately.
Right.
And so
it wasn't just the Craig mine; it was mines nationwide.
Well, it affects because of MSHA,
mm-hmm.
Mine Safety Health Administration.
Right.
Those fatalities are reported to all mines, and of course to MSHA they do a thorough investigation. They change procedures, and therefore all the mines throughout the U.S. had to change their procedures in that area for loading holes to be blasted.
Okay. Wow.
So
that's very unfortunate, but
very much so.
You're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then aside from the safety, how did the union develop throughout your time there? What did that look like?
I think as far as the union's concerned, the union operating engineers in particular is the only one I have experience with.
Right.
They always provided well-qualified people for different positions, and it was expected of the union employees to always do your work in excellence, always do a good job, never do a faulty, a half job in any position, if it's mechanican or if it's out in production. As far as the union's concerned, whenever we had our contracts were usually 5-year contracts. During negotiation for the next year 5-year contract, we never had any issues at all with management as far as reaching agreement on the pay scale or the benefits. It was always worked out. There always seemed to be a real strong respect between the union and the salaried company people. I didn't see any real difference with the union other than it was a very established union, and it's still going strong today in a lot of areas, not only in mining but in road construction and in building and whatever involves running equipment. That's usually operating engineers are involved in that big time.
Okay.
And they just have a real good, sound, solid history of always being a top-notch union.
Okay.
And always being respected. My dad was in operating engineers. Mm-hmm. My uncle was in operating engineers, and I was in it for 29 years.
Right.
And so I don't know of any changes within the union itself, other than they always had a real good reputation for being a very trustworthy and sound union to be involved in.
Okay.
And Trapper used us for, and still is today, as the union that takes care of all their maintenance and production work of the mine. The workings of the mine.
So not all the workers at the mine are under that union?
except the staff or salaried people.
Right.
Administration people, those are salaried positions.
Right.
They're not union at all.
Right.
They're separate from all the workers.
Okay. And then I guess my other question about the mine, just generally then, is how have you seen the mine develop? Just the process of doing all the mining, the growth, or maybe if there's been a reduction in workforce, anything like that?
Yeah, I think the main thing, Jack, over the years, we have 3 drag lines out there at Trapper Mine, and we had 3 separate areas that we mine coal.
Right.
And over the years, a lot of the coal that we mined, we can mine down 150 feet maximum with a surface type mining, as opposed to underground mine.
Right.
So all the seams on the surface were mined from the west to the east, and the mine now, all the activity is on what they call the east panel. It's the east side of the mine, and they're only running 1 drag line now as opposed to 3.
Right.
And their mining procedures have changed tremendously over the last, since I retired in 2008. They're more involved in what they call a truck shovel type operation.
Okay.
Because of the terrain. We're mining coal seams on what they call the Williams Fork Formation, which is on a mountain just south of Craig, south of the power plant. And because of the steep coal seams, they can't set a drag line on that because it's not stable enough. It's too steep.
Oh, I see.
So they just use one drag line now, and they bought a brand new Laterno loader. It's a huge loader. It's got the largest bucket. It's the largest front end loader made, Laterno.
Wow.
And they're using that in some big haul trucks for moving the overburden and down to the coal seams. So that's changed a lot, and now all their mining is pretty much concentrated in one area.
Right.
It's really a busy time during operations for blasting and moving material, 1 drag line, all the trucks. It's really congested as opposed to what it was years ago.
Okay.
When I was out there, it was a lot different as far as the different pits, and the different operations were more isolated in the different areas.
Right.
Less congestion.
Right.
So that was a good thing. I mean, I like the I don't like the congestion portion of it.
Do you see it maybe getting more congested then in the future?
Yeah, the life of the mine at Trapper, from what I heard, is 2020, but it could go a little longer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's only 7 more years.
Of course.
They have done a lot of exploration drilling for coal seams deeper than 150 feet, and there is coal seams deeper than that.
Is there a reason for the 150-foot restriction right now?
Because of the booms of the drag line, they can't dig any deeper than that.
Okay.
Because of the deepness of the terrain and the difficulty on the hoist ropes and the hoist motors and all that to move material deeper than 150 feet.
Right.
Just too deep. But there are coal seams deeper than that. I've heard over the years that there's 300 years of coal in northwest Colorado, southwest Wyoming, and eastern Utah. 300 years. So we haven't hardly begun to even tap the coal reserves. And a lot of them are deeper than the surface reserves, of course.
Right.
And the deeper you go, the higher BTU coal you get, and the higher quality coal.
Okay.
But there's more coal here, and hopefully they can continue to mine it.
Right.
You know.
Right. Okay. Then from the mine, just about Craig in general, what was Craig like when you first came here?
When I first came here in March of 1971, it was a dusty town. There wasn't a lot of streets that were paved as far as I can remember.
Oh, okay.
I did see a few horses downtown. Mm-hmm. No stoplights.
Okay.
And I came here, and I didn't like it originally. I had told myself I was going to be here 5 years, and that was going to be the max.
Right.
I was going to get out of here and move somewhere else, and that didn't happen. And it's been a good thing, really.
Okay.
I love Craig, and I love the elevation up here, over 6,000 feet. You know, get real hot summers. They get a little warm, but not that bad. Nights are nice and cool. There's so much to do, really is. I like hunting and camping basically and just getting out. And there's plenty of opportunities for shopping. You can go to Grand Junction, you can go to Denver if you want to, but everything we have is here, really. So after those 5 years, after I first came here, I worked 4 more years with the USDA, and then I changed jobs and went to Trapper Mine, and then I kind of found a home out there. And Craig was a home. I wasn't one to jump around from job to job and change locations as far as where my family's going to live and where we were going to live. So I hung it out. I stuck with it for been here 42 years now in Craig, and yeah, it's a good place. There's plenty of opportunities, really.
Okay.
And I think people have to just be happy with where they're at.
Right.
And when there's opportunities, just don't jump around in different jobs and stick with one thing. And as long as you can advance and enjoy the job and the community, there's no reason to have to move on, because the grass is not always greener across the fence, you know.
Right. How have you seen Craig change then since you came?
I've seen it seems like it's slower,
Oh, okay.
Jack, than it used to be. I mean, it just seems to be a lot of the old timers in this area seem like they're somewhat hesitant to allow industry to come in sometimes. I know over the years there was an opportunity for I think it was a fabric industry to come into this community, but they were just basically voted out. They weren't encouraged to come.
Okay.
So they didn't come. There's just some things that I think are limited. I think we could have more expansion here in the area of industry and businesses if the community would allow different industries to come in. I think there's opportunities, and it's a little slower than I'd like it to be. I'd like it to be a little faster pace.
Of course.
And overall, I just, it's a good place. I hear of good people coming in here. I've met some new people that have moved into this area, and they enjoy it. They enjoy raising their kids here. As far as being in an area where there's a lot less stress and pressure, and it's not as hectic as it would be in a big community.
Right.
And so I'm tickled with that. It's good to have good people moving here and wanting to stay.
A couple of people that I've spoken with have said that they've seen a lot of new people come in recently in Craig. They don't stay for a long time, then they leave. Have you seen any of that going on?
I haven't seen that much of it. I know some people have left after, 5 or 7 years.
Right.
But the people I associate with are pretty solid folks. I think you do find areas where things don't work out for them here.
Right.
I know there's a lot of people that have their own business out of their home, computers, different things like that. And I'm not aware of very many people that have come and only stayed a couple of years and left. There's some circumstances that might cause them to do that, but the people I'm aware of have been here for some time and are staying. So that's good.
Yeah. Is there anything else generally you'd like to add? Anything you'd like to throw in there?
Overall, I just feel that Craig is a good community and got a lot of history here. I think the opportunities to raise families are awesome, and I think there's so much potential. And I think we can always improve and get better.
Right.
And I think Craig, the people in positions, county commissioners and the city council, and those folks they're working hard for our interest, for the interest of the community. And I know that I'm just really concerned about this oil and gas and all that stuff, the regulations that are affecting and can get worse as far as the coal mining and oil and gas exploration. All that stuff can can be detrimental to this community if,
Right.
if these regulations still stay in effect and we can't get rid of those regulations. That's going to be detrimental to this area.
Right.
That is the backbone of this whole community. And
Right.
so overall, I think that's critical right now because we're really fighting the regulations, the government. You know, I think because energy is here, I firmly feel that we should have the ability, need some control, I realize that, but as long as the energy is here, we need to be able to harvest it.
Right.
Oil and gas, and the drilling and the coal, it's critical, you know. So that's the main thing, is that I think potential is unlimited, period, for this area.
All right.
That's the main thing.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
All right, Jack.
Perfect.